This year has been very eventful for me, and it's been a wild ride. So, especially in the last couple of months, last few months, things have been particularly rough, with the coming out video that I did, and the reactions I got from family mostly. I think in retrospect, I buried a lot of this, a lot of what the emotions I had going through it. I kind of told myself it was okay. I needed to do this. I needed to be truthful to myself and to the people around me. I needed to be liberated by the truth from the big lie I was living. But I didn't process the thoughts. I didn't quite allow myself to be angry or upset or embarrassed or, feeling just unhopeful or without hope. And when I arrived in Bangkok, I think having all that free time just sort of came to a head. After a long night out and a bit of a disagreement with Randall, I started to feel the hopelessness of it. And that was what led to the meltdown the other day. I think I needed that. I needed to get into the guilt and maybe the remorse and the sadness of it. And what had happened was we had a long night and we had slept very late and we got up with just a few hours of sleep. And I started to feel there were things that I just couldn't do to make him happy or to give him the happiness. And I felt that I was controlling him. And that kind of all led up to, what happened in the last couple of months. I think my feelings of inadequacy sort of came in, and I thought there was nothing that I could do to make the people around me happy, the people that I love happy, whether it's my family or not, and that I was such a disappointment and just very complicated. And then there are these thoughts of me being, that I'm super emotional and I shouldn't be emotional, and what are people going to think of me, and so on, so on. In retrospect, I wouldn't say it's not valid, but in many ways, I think it's irrational. I didn't need to feel like I wanted to end my life, but I needed to express it. After having lived with depression for so long, and these suicidal thoughts for many years, since I was 16, I think revisiting it helped me deal with the grief of what's happening in the last couple of months. And so what had happened was I kind of snapped awake in the middle of a nap, and I knew something was wrong, and I turned to him and I said that I can't sleep, that I can't sleep anymore, and I'm not okay, and I can't do this. And that just snowballed very, very quickly. And within a minute or so, I burst out in tears, and I felt so frustrated. I don't quite remember the details. That's what happens in an aspie melt. Even though this was an implosive melt, I only remember that I had burst out into tears, and I was just heaving, and I was just sobbing, and I really didn't want to live anymore. I didn't see the point of it. I didn't see what good it would be for me to be around if I couldn't give happiness to the people I love around me, and to put them in a difficult situation, that sort of thing. I don't know, I think I went on for about an hour, and I fell asleep again, just from the exhaustion of it. We woke up much later, and I was feeling very flat, and we went for lunch. And when I realized that the guilt kicked in about having a melt and for having those thoughts, only then did I realize it was a melt. Because that's one of the things that happens. You feel the guilt after the outburst, and then the memory starts to fade, and only the feelings, deeper feelings, kind of stuck. Not feeling useful, inadequacy, wanting to end it all, not wanting to live. And then the guilt from that, and that kind of started to feed back a little bit, and I needed to talk about it. So I talked to Randall about it. When I realized it was a melt, I immediately said to myself, I let things go too far. I buried it too long, I buried it too quickly, and I needed to let it out. And so I started to forgive myself for those thoughts and having those thoughts, and told myself it's okay to feel guilty, but let it go.